Everyone.
Oh, I got you. Hey, good morning, everybody. Patrick here with KWYP Triangle chapter here in the Capital Metro area of North Carolina. If you don't know where you are right now, whether you're on this Zoom call or watching it on YouTube later, this is our monthly Coffee with a Mega series. These started as in-person coffee masterminds with people in real estate, whether they're an agent or in leadership, who are just living big lives, have a big passion to share and educate and just open their books for other people to learn from them. So this is a very high productivity, high positivity, high sharing type tradition that we have. We decided to take it to Zoom, move it to 11 a.m. Eastern. So it's still a little morning. Today for me is tea with a mega since I got a little scratchy throat. But this allows us to have our West Coasters and our Central Coast, Central Time Zone. I need more coffee to be on the call too. So we've got Elio here from Texas. We're going to hear all about his rise as a recent rookie in the industry, what he's accomplished, also his mindset, how he sets his mind straight. And this is hosted by our KW Young Professionals. So Keller Williams, largest real estate franchise in the world by the number of agents that we have. We have, for a few years now, had this segment of our company called the Young Professionals Division, geared toward any agent under 40 who wants to surround themselves with high positivity, high productivity, high energy people who are going to just grow together. My theme for Keller Williams Young Professionals is it's the reason I'm still with Keller Williams. It's the reason I am who I am today, personally, professionally, better husband and father, most importantly, because of this YP community. And so YP is all over the country. There are new chapters being launched all the time. In fact, in about 5-6 weeks, we have less than that, October 11th. So that's like 3-4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks. We have a chapter. Yeah. Did I say October? November 11th. Thank you, whoever said that. We have a chapter launching right here in North Carolina, about an hour and a half away in Greensboro, the Triad. Tons of history there, amazing place. And they're going to launch a YP chapter, and it is going to be awesome. Juana, the chapter president, and their leadership team is knocking it out of the park. I'm going to be there personally. Our Triangle chapter is going to try to commute over there together, spend the night, have a full day of content and just really amazing masterminding, talking about wealth building, all the things we love within YP. And so if you're not yet involved in YP, I encourage you to go to a chapter launch, hop on a Zoom call like this, find your local chapter and just attend one of their events. They love to have visitors and guests. It's always a mix of education and content, community service, and some social mingling type happy hour events. And so pop into something, meet the people, and see if you think it's a good community for you. If you're interested, you can find anything you need to know at kwyp.org. Super simple. Keller Williams Young Professionals, kwyp.org. Find a local chapter. And if you don't have one, I'd highly encourage you to think about starting one. It's an amazing way to grow yourself professionally, and it's going to bring a lot of business to you as well. So all that to say, Elio, are you ready to dig into it, man?
I am ready. Yes,
awesome.
Sir.
I'm excited to hear your story, and I'm going to pass off the hosting duties to someone else because we got people in the waiting room here. Let me invite them in real quick. We got Meredith and Angel. I'm going to make Emily the host. And boom, let's go, Elio. All right, man. You and I don't know each other, so I'm really excited to get to know you on this call. Kate, our chapter president here with our Triangle chapter, and I'm the VP of the chapter, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But Kate, our president, heard you speak on stage at Mega Camp, which is one of our annual conferences that we have, and you blew it away. You knocked her socks off, and we want to take that and bring it to our chapter and to anyone who watches this on YouTube later. So why don't we start off with, give us the 2-minute professional speed dating biography version of Elio, maybe like from high school, college, and then how you got to where you are now.
Okay, that's awesome. So thanks for everyone joining us today. My name is Elio, as you know, and I started real estate in 2020 as an 18-year-old, right? I graduated high school and I started my real estate school at Champions, and I got my license. And I started at a really fun time, like I said on stage. Started at one of the funnest times you can start real estate, right in the beginning of the pandemic. So I started off all pumped. I was going to Ignite, and then the first week of training, right, pretty much everything closed. Right, my office closed. I haven't met my PC coach yet. There wasn't any open houses. You couldn't go door knock because it was the middle of the pandemic. And then there were no network events. So I was pretty much clueless. I didn't have all of the traditional tools and all of the things you can do as a newer agent. So without knowing my PC coach yet, just because I was just a 1 week new in the game, the only tool I had was my phone, right? The only tool I had was my phone. So I created a system that worked for me. And my only 2 goals for my social media account was growing my following and growing engagement. I wanted people to engage with me with what I post. And type of houses and stuff like that. And so far, my first full year, I ended up closing 50 houses. And right now is year 2. I'm 120 career-wise, and I'm just a 21-year-old.
Sorry, I got myself muted because I like to mumble and react in the background. I don't want to distract from you. And by the way, I think we're seeing you on your front-facing camera too, like right in. Yeah, that one. Yep, that's the one where we can see you looking at us. So you sold 50 homes in your first calendar year, like 2021. You said
2021 was
2021, and then so far this year, did you say you've sold 120?
No, 120 like overall.
Overall, okay, gotcha. So about like 70 some this year or something like that. Year to date. Okay. So tell us, like, how do you get into that? What did that first little bit of lead generation look like? I know you mentioned it was in your phone. So in real estate, we call lead generation just the way we find clients. The same way a dental office does advertising, they might send you, a reminder to change your clocks on daylight savings times. That's what lead generation is. And Elio mentioned, he kind of rattled off a lot of things. He mentioned Ignite, which is the Keller Williams introductory course for brand new agents. He also mentioned door knocking, which is literally when you just go knock on your neighborhood or your apartment building's doors and get to know people and try to find clients. And that may seem crazy for someone outside the industry, but you're in these classes, you're learning how to kickstart your career, but it's in the middle of a pandemic, right? So First off, too, remind us what market you're in, and then tell us what that early lead generation was like for you. Just what were your texts? What are you mostly texting? Are you DMing on Instagram? Tell us how you found these 50 clients in that first year.
Okay, yeah. So I'm in the Houston, Texas market. This is where I grew up in. I'm originally from North Carolina. So when you guys say Greensboro,
What?
yeah, it's so close to where I used to live at.
Where are you from?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah, man. That's awesome, dude.
So
I love that. So when did you move?
I moved here 8 years ago.
8 years ago. So you're like a Charlotte Panthers fan, or Carolina Panthers, Charlotte Hornets, all that good stuff.
That good stuff, yeah.
Okay, you haven't gotten into the Houston. I hear Texas has like really bad football. You're not into all that, right?
No. I'm just only into the Astros.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah, that's fine. That's acceptable. Yeah, North Carolina doesn't have baseball, or at least pro. So you're allowed to like the Astros, and they're good too. Okay, yeah. So you moved to Houston 8 years ago. So you were like what, 12? Like this is like high school, middle school?
Beginning 8th grade.
Beginning 8th grade. Yep, that's exactly when I moved to North Carolina. Ironically, in 8th grade. So you moved to Houston, or did you move to Houston or another market in Texas?
No, I'm going straight to Houston.
Move straight to Houston. Okay, so you go through 8th grade, high school, got 5 years, and then all your friends are going off to college, and you're like, hey, I'm going to get into business.
Correct.
What is that mindset as an 18-year-old to make that decision?
So I come from a really business-oriented family. My parents own a restaurant since I was born. So it was just, I was always watching them. They were always taking me to the restaurant with them. My parents have rental properties in North Carolina. And as soon as we got here, they grew the portfolio as well. So I was always in that real estate trend with them, going around picking up rent, stuff like that. So that kind of inspired me. And coming from that business-oriented mindset, I knew I wanted to be my own boss. So after high school, I took like one mini semester in summer in college, and I knew it wasn't for me, so I dropped out, and I finished my real estate course in 1 month.
Wow.
Took the office classes in 1 month, and then I got my license. And as soon as I got my license, the pandemic came. So a weird thing, it's not really weird, but everyone told me, reach out to your SOI, your sphere. But all of my sphere was, people, my friends my age, 18, 19 years old, right? And they were either at college or they were working hard labor jobs. So there's nothing I could really, hey, you want to buy a house? Because it wasn't in their mindset. But, I wasn't calling them to buy a house or to sell a house. I was calling them to see how their parents were, how their uncles were, right? I wanted to target their older audience since I didn't have that. And my first home I sold was to my uncle, right? He was running for 30 years and he didn't believe he could buy a home. And we ended up buying one.
Wow. Man, that's amazing. You're changing family histories. That's incredible.
And from that one, my uncle referred me to his old neighbor that was running for 30 years as well, just like him. And then it just started growing from there. So I started with my sphere, and then I transitioned it to Instagram, since you still couldn't do open houses, still couldn't door knock. There weren't any networking events. Most of the places here in Houston had curfews, but they weren't taking any dining. So it was pretty much a done deal. So I started posting every day on my Instagram account, right? I started posting, and the only houses I would post were new construction, right? Because you didn't have a schedule showing
Yep.
And here in Houston, at the beginning of the pandemic, most of the sellers didn't want you to show the home if you didn't have a buyer, if they weren't pre-approved, right? They didn't want nobody walking in the home with COVID. So with new construction, right, the homes are open all day long. Right, you just walk in, you take a picture, and you're out. Right, I would take during construction, I would take them all different stages, and I would show people, hey, this is what you can be waiting on while you're at home. You build your custom home, and that actually got a lot of audience, and I started selling new construction like crazy.
Dude, so I just pulled up your Instagram while you're talking.
Yeah.
This is not a rookie agent over here. This is not someone who just got into the business right out of high school. I mean, it helps that you got the beard. If I could grow one, I would. That's why I'm bald, guys. I actually have a full head of hair. I just shave it to look more mature and more trustworthy. That's not true at all. But no, like, so you've got the beard. So that really helps because as an 18-year-old looking to advise people on a house purchase, which I assume your parents had rentals, but you were not a homeowner at 18, right?
No, I was not a homeowner.
Yeah. So you're advising people. I know that was an insecurity of mine when I got into the business, that I was the realtor who rented. And then I kind of flipped that script. I was like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So let make that my strength, because I hate selling people something that they might perceive, oh, he's only doing this to make money. So when I was able to say, that was my superpower. I say, hey, I'm the realtor that rents right now. I get it. There's a time and a place for renting. So you're never going to hear pressure from me. And and it's the number one way to build financial wealth in the United States for the past 100, 200 years, right? So like you with your uncle, you taught him a narrative and you showed him a path on how to do it. So let's get into that mindset a little more. Let's say someone's on this call or watching it on YouTube and they literally haven't sold a house yet, whether they're 18 or 88 years old. What approach do you take when you've not done it? You have that insecurity, that imposter syndrome. How do you get your mind right? And then what do you say to those clients to help lead them down that path?
So age was really a big thing when I first started, because most of my clients that I got, the first beginning clients, were from social media, right? Mm-hmm. And those questions always come across your process, right? If it's a message or you're showing, they always, you're talking to them, and the two most questions they ask you, they always come up no matter what. I never got, nobody asked me this, but how old are you and how long you've been in the industry, right? And I'm not a good liar, so. And when I first started, I told him, hey, I'm 18, and I've been doing this almost a year. Right? I don't want to say 3 months, but I want to say almost a year. And most of the people that were already trusting me and showing them homes, they were actually supportive. Like, oh wow, like you're doing really good. Keep doing what you're doing, and you have a hustle, right? Mm-hmm. And most of my clients always trusted me from the beginning, right? My family, people that will see me work at the restaurant as a 12-year-old all the way to 18, that, oh, this kid has it, and we've been eating at his parents' restaurant and we trust him. But I wouldn't let really age, like make you feel insecure or determine your success, because I mean, I sold 50 homes as a 19-year-old, right? Yep. And not in the age get across me. Now, yep. I do have some deals here and there where, they didn't want to work with me because of my age, and they wanted somebody that knew the market. And as much as you can tell them, hey, you're backed up by professional coaches, team leaders, or market tenant, Keller Williams, not all people want to go that way. But yep. I still sold 50 my first year.
I think another important lesson there is that just because you're insecure about it doesn't mean that your client's thinking about it. And this is true for everyone, right? In Keller Williams, we have a bold law. It's kind of a mantra, one of the many that we have, that's don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. So just because I've sold more homes than you, Elio, I mean, you've kicked my butt on an annual pace, and I could be intimidated by you, right? Or you vice versa to me. And so whether it's your age or anything in your head that you're thinking might prevent this client from hiring me, it could be your listing commission, the percentage that you charge, right? Obviously, there's no standard and we can't really talk about specifics, but what if they come to you and say, well, another agent's charging X? Recently, I've just started to say, that's awesome. That's great. They can run a business model like that. That's not what I charge. And I totally respect if you find more value there. And I think it's gotten me clients who trust me even more because they respect that I know my worth. And so just like you can't change someone's mind if they don't want to work with an 18-year-old. And even if you did convince them and sign them to agency, there's a chance they would regret it or not trust you or what's the word? I can't think of the word, but that it would kind of dissolve over time and they wouldn't be the right client to work with anyway. And so I love that you're taking your strengths, you're making it work, you're on social media. And I want to get back to your Instagram real quick too, because this just presents, you're not crazy. You're not like the used car salesman that has the big inflatables and you're making crazy jokes, which is great if that's the way someone wants to run their business. But what I get from this is professional. I get happy too. You smile a fair amount. You're not like that stoic model face. Like I'm a realtor and I sell luxury, which is great too. But you give a lot of personality. Like I feel like just being on this call and being on your Instagram here, that I can get a vibe for what it's like to hang out with you. And I don't say that just because we're not here to make friends, which is great. I think we could become friends from this, but in that the way you brand yourself and the way you market yourself. So is that an intentional choice? And tell us how you kind of curate your Instagram and how, because it's probably the biggest driver of your business at this point. What are your thoughts on when you think about your Instagram and how do you coach other friends of yours on this who are struggling with building it?
Oh, that's a great question. So honestly, Patrick, I try to I honestly copy and paste my dad's restaurant. Right? There's thousands of Mexican restaurants here in Houston, right? But they're not all authentic, right? So I copy and paste the authentic and did it on Instagram, right? There's thousands of realtors out there.
Yep.
They're all, like you said, happy, authentic, right? You can look up realtors and some of them all post open house flyers, or they only post houses and you never see their face. But they don't, it really depends. Like when you go into a restaurant, you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel the food, you want to see everyone talking and stuff like that. It's the same thing with your Instagram profile. Like you want to see the clients you help, you want to see the houses, you want to see the agent himself, right? It gives you like it makes the client feel comfortable and be confident with you. If you don't believe it or not, but it's true.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people don't want to show their face. They don't want to make it about them. And yet real estate is such a personal industry, right? And there's so much trust and like deep trust that has to go on because you're giving up so much of your expertise to someone else and they're giving up the house they're going to live in, right? I got to be on stage recently at a trip in Knoxville. I think Justin Myers is on this call. And I got to interview two agents who collectively their teams sold 1,400 homes and 2,400 homes last year. So in the year 2021, these two teams had sold like 3,800 homes. One team, Karina Loken out of Houston, had like 81 staff members that year. And Mike out of Cleveland, Mike Zenicola said, before I go into any listing appointment, and despite selling 1,400 homes, he still does production. He still takes on listings. And he said, when I'm sitting in the car, I take a few minutes just to remind myself that if all goes well, in the next 30 to 45 minutes, they're going to hand over the key to me. And I'm looking at you holding up a key on your Instagram right now. They're going to hand over the key to me of the house where they raised their kids. And there's so much trust involved there. And so I think when I look at your Instagram, I immediately trust you. You're dressed well. Yeah, and not that those things are important, but you're presenting professional, but also fun. You got a pumpkin on your head in one picture and it looks super cool. But you're also laid back too. You're in I almost said a bikini. You're in a bathing suit in a swimming hole somewhere. You're going to like museums and ball games and stuff. And go ahead.
You want to be authentic. You want when people click your profile, the first 6 pictures, because they only see 6 pictures when they see your profile, you want to make them follow you. Like they're only your profile for 10, 15 seconds.
Yep.
All right, so you want to catch their attention. If not, they'll just swipe back out and go through the feed.
That's awesome, man.
Picture of real estate, personal life, houses, and family.
Yep. Well, let's get into that personal life side of things too. What is you're clearly busy. You've got 50 homes last year, 70 some this year. You're running a full-time business, but it looks like you still have fun. It doesn't look like you're burned out. So just tell me like what your personal life is like and what's Elio you're now 20, 21?
21. 21.
Yep. So what is that? What's your personal life like? Your friends, family, significant others, things like that.
I'm actually taking a trip. I'm going to Dominican Republic Friday and I'm coming back next week. I like to go to trips here and there. I'm a one-man team, so I don't have the whole staff here to like go as many trips as I want to, but I am going to team. Personal life, it's funny you said it, but I did get burned out earlier this year around June and July. I pretty much closed what I did last year, half year, all by myself. So I was getting burned out and I started feeling like unmotivated, right? And that's when I took my first trip. And then I came back and I came to Mega Camp and now I'm taking another trip. But personal life, honestly, I do like my morning routine in the morning. 5 to 8 is usually my time to do like the gym time and all that health stuff. And then I like to end my day around 7 to 8. And then anytime after that, it's just my personal life. But here, like throughout the day, I go eat somewhere or I go taking content for me is personal. Like I find that fun. Like even like if I have a day off, I still like going taking content. I love marketing.
Yep. It seems like it's a lifestyle. Even if you have a day off, you're still capturing content. You may not work on it that day, but you might post it later in the week, maybe, or something like that. Yep. And that's something that I struggle with too. I like to capture a lot of content, but then I almost get overwhelmed with like if I want to do this Instagram reel the right way, it might take an hour or two, or it might take 45 minutes. And when you're busy with clients, when you're selling 70 homes a year, you've already done last year's production in 6 months. You're double what you thought you could do last year, right? Like you've got to take time or you're going to burn out. So what was that adjustment like for you in June and July? How did you react to that burnout? And what advice do you have for other agents who are just kind of struggling and overwhelmed?
I mean, once you get burned out, it's really important for you to do something to get out of that a stage, right? Because when you're burned out, you're not performing the same. Like you're not taking care of your clients the same. You're not performing 100%. Right? You're not getting deals. You're losing deals. You're forgetting to follow up, or you're just not motivated to wake up early and start your day. Right? And that can affect you like really bad. Like, that can affect the rest of your 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
So just take a trip and put your phone on do not disturb.
Yeah. So taking time for yourself. You got this trip coming up. It sounds like too, even not just the vacations, but on the day to day, are you pretty religious on like you don't reply to work text before 8 a.m.? You mentioned 5 to 8 is personal time, or is that kind of bleed over and there's blurry lines there?
I get agents that text me at 6 in the morning. I get clients that text me 7, 8. I honestly don't reply until 8:30 and 9. I will post something on social media and still not reply to it, just because I don't know. It just that stress that message brings me before 9 a.m. is something I like to keep my health life.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've had great role models from your parents on not only how to be entrepreneurial and like build a business, but then how to sustain it. Because it's one thing to have success and it's another thing then to keep it going, even if you don't grow, right? Even if just at your current pace, man, if you don't get the leverage and that build a business out of it, not just a successful salesperson, but a business. So I'm assuming you've got your mind on that. You've seen your parents manage people in restaurants. You're around all the Keller Williams people. You saw them on stage at Mega Camp. Yeah. What's next for your business?
What's next for my business? I do want to start a team next year. Well, I want to have a team running as an engineer. So I'm starting all that stuff this year. I also want to create my own like camera team. I want to have a whole camera team.
You said you want to create your own what was that?
My camera team.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I want to have that aside. And that's pretty much it. That's what's coming next for next year.
Okay. So are you, have you taken career visioning or any of the leverage series courses that Keller Williams offers? Yeah.
I took CV and I'm taking it again this month.
Man, I honestly wish I had your attitude when I was 21. That's awesome, man. I'm just now getting to where I'm seriously treating this like a business. And I've had a small team for a few years now, but taking career vision and getting into all the HR type stuff that I've kind of ignored over the years. Because everyone on my team has kind of sought me out, and I've screened them and worked with my coach to hire them and stuff. But I just took career visioning a CV for the first time, and I'm already looking to take it again because it's so useful content, especially for people in our shoes that are first hire or second or third hire, but even all the way up to mega teams who still, I know people who've taken career visioning 8, 9 times because it's such a dense course and you get so much out of it. I want to pause here. We've touched on a lot of stuff, personal, business, Instagram marketing. Who has questions for Elio? Feel free to just come off mute and shout them out.
I have a question. So I also love social media, and I just noticed that it's hard to be consistent whenever you have business. And I mean, you've already done more business than I have this year, and I'm like year 7 in the business. So like, I can't imagine doing both. And like I just don't have the energy. So 1, how do you have the energy? And 2, like what systems do you use to stay on track with your social media goals?
It's a really good question. Social media is like a job number 2 for me. it's honestly like a whole row. Like if I were to hire someone next after my admin and my agents, it will be someone to take my social media off of me because I spend about 4 or 5 hours a day just on it, and it's really time consuming.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. So I'm sticking down to 2 hours. I have a timer on my Instagram account that it tells you once you reach 2 hours a day. So that's helping me leverage that time. But honestly, I have my content days where that whole day I just go out and take content, and I probably bring about 4 or 5 outfits. That way I can, take different content. And every Sunday I create my content for the week.
Mm.
Whatever I take in that week, if any pictures, closings, showings, selfies, team pictures, I take them throughout the week. And on Sunday, I choose my 7 posts for the week.
Mm.
So coming Monday, Tuesday, I just click the picture I already edited, has a caption, everything.
Mm. So you're doing 1 post per day. Are some of those videos, or does a video is an addition?
It's half and half, videos and posts.
Okay, awesome. And speaking of videos, Brandon had a question here. He said, who does your videos, recording you in the new construction home tours?
I use a camera guy. I've been using him since 2020. He started taking my listing pictures, and then asked him if he does videos, and he said, yeah. So I'm booked with him once a week. Like forever.
That's awesome. And is that a certain day of every week, or is it just whatever day you guys, it's not every Tuesday or something like that?
Yeah, it's usually either the week Saturday before Sunday or one day in the week.
Yeah. Awesome question, Elizabeth. Any follow-up on that, or did that answer it?
That answered it. Thanks.
Awesome. Who else got a question for Elio? And then I've got a long list of ones I can keep going from.
How do you budget for your marketing and social media? Like if you're hiring a camera guy to do videos every single week, how did it start, and how have you grown it as your accounts and business has grown?
That's a really important question. So I didn't start off with a camera guy off the bat, right? Because I don't have that much capital. I only use a camera guy for my listings, right? That would be the only reason I pay for his services. But when I first started off, I ordered a tripod on Amazon with a Bluetooth clicker. And since I would visit these new constructions on a daily basis, most of the new construction communities have like inventory houses back to back. So I'll take the tripod, I'll take a picture, and that's how I would take my pictures first. So I was using it. I still use it to this day. It's a $40 investment, and it's my best friend. I take it everywhere. It's in my car, it's in my backpack, and I have one at the office. I have 3.
That's awesome. And you said $40 for this thing?
$40, and it's a Bluetooth clicker. You put it, you take a picture, smiling. You can hide the clicker in your hand, and it takes a picture for you.
Doesn't have to be fancy at all.
Doesn't have to be fancy, right?
Yep. And this is on your phone that it's doing the Bluetooth with? Right. Okay, cool. So you don't even have to have a fancy camera, a $40 tripod, a Bluetooth clicker, and your iPhone. Or if you're on Android, your smartphone, I should say.
Yeah, if you get fancy, you can record and you can just walk around the house. And a lot of clips make a reel yourself, right? You get videos of you walking around and it looks like someone's recording you. So this is a tripod. Right. But to answer your question about expenses, my model, there isn't like an expense budget I have to like be under for me. It's whatever my expenses that month, I had to make 5 times more the next month. And that's how it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of anyone doing their budget like that. It's like a reactionary budget. Okay, I spent this much, so next month I need to do 5 times more than that.
Right. Or if I already projecting how much I'm spending this month, I should already have 5 times more coming in the next month.
Yep, that's awesome.
I'll audit it and see what happens. But for the most part, I make 4 to 5 times more than what I spend.
Yep. So it sounds like you're working on that model anyway. It's kind of like you found what it currently works and you just stick with that. Okay, as long as I don't spend more than 5x, or excuse me, as long as I make 5x more than what I'm spending, that's going to keep sustaining.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that was Michael who asked that question. Thank you, Michael. Anything else on that? Good. Who else got a question?
Elio, I got a question for you. So you're saying you're a one man band right now.
Had someone else on there. I think you're good now. We had a hot mic. but go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I heard a little echo. You're a one-man band, no assistant. You're doing 70 deals all by yourself.
Right.
That's just fascinating.
Yeah. Last year, right, I did 50 by myself, and I was like, how do I do it? How do I did it, right? Because this year I'm already struggling. But I was doing the showings, I was doing compliance, I was doing the paperwork, I was doing closing gifts, I was listings, I was picking up signs, putting lock boxes, but I was working 7 days a week, right? This year I did hire a contract to close virtual transaction coordinator, and now she's taking care of my paperwork, but I'm still doing most of the listing appointments, the buyer paperwork, everything before he goes on the contract, showings and stuff like that.
That's wild, man. Because I'm in a spot now. Like, only thing I can think about is like hiring admin, and I'm not even doing close to 70 deals. I don't like. So that's just really fascinating that you're getting all that done and still staying sane.
Yeah, I just you have to be really organized. It took me a couple months to get organized the way I want it. And what really helps me is like I have an extreme OCD that everything has to be like in place, like all the systems, like everything I do has to be like I have to perfect it. In other words.
Got it. So yeah, systems are everything, because now you can just rinse and repeat, and you don't have to think about what's next, and can just roll. Got it. More power to you, man. It's awesome to hear.
Elio, my Texas sister there in Dallas says you got that 21-year-old energy.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how long
I love it. Hey, use whatever competitive advantage you got, man. Elizabeth and I are not on that side of the YP age spectrum, but we love it. And people like you keep us motivated.
He was born in
and
the
energized.
2000s, y'all.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah,
So,
yep.
it's like
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and we were born in the late 1900s, as some people like to say now, which just makes me feel way too old. The late 20th century. Awesome. So, Elio, what does it look like in this market specifically? I know a lot of us are having, I wouldn't say trouble or difficulty, but even just the mental game of advising our clients on this shifting market. So you, as someone who got in 2020 in a booming market and then saw it go even crazier, this has got to be whiplash for you to then change your conversation. So how are you specifically I'd love to talk specifically about listings first. How are you advising them on pricing? Because the discussions I'm having are way different than just 6 months ago or even 6 weeks ago. So what does that conversation look like for you? How are you economically advising your clients?
And it's funny you said that. It's so funny that I did my very first price reduction in the 2 years I've been in real estate this year. Like I've never done a price reduction because everything I posted will sell for over, or at least sell for almost what they were asking for. So when I did my first price reduction, I was like, oh my God, like it's happening. And it's crazy. I find it really interesting how we came from like last year, 2% interest rates and over asking, no appraisals, to like 7% interest rates right now, and nobody want to offer properties in the market for 60, 80 days.
Yep.
Now, in so short time of a time span. But some of the conversations I'm having with my sellers is, at least here in Houston, it's still a seller's market, right? There's only 2 months of inventory, right? And there was a stat that came out about, I think 2 weeks ago, and it said 1 out of every 5 houses is having price reduction. So I just tell them, hey, we're in a seller's market. Imagine if we're not. What if 4 out of 5 houses next year have a price reduction? You're gonna get less for your house, right? And the less for your house, that's something you have to buy. So I be transparent with them. I tell them, hey, we're not in a multiple offering market anymore, but you are getting an higher interest rate. But then again, historically, when the elections come, it's known for interest rate. The whole economy goes down, right? Gas prices, inflation, interest rates go down. And if you search it out, what happens to interest rates when the election comes up? They always go down, right? Because they want to be reelected. So I tell them, hey, stick to the interest rate right now, pay for a year or two, and then refinance once the election comes in.
I love that. And so what I heard you say there is a few things. One, you're just honest with them. right? You're not trying to twist their arm. You're trying to give them the reality, which is what we should all do, right? It's part of our ethical duty as a realtor to be honest and to the fiduciary advice for their best interest before our own. You also had a few stats. You knew your stats about your specific area. And what I love what you did, it wasn't that it doesn't seem like you log in every morning and you spend an hour researching the latest data from the day before. It doesn't have to be this overwhelming thing. You picked one data point. And it was, two, excuse me, seller's market. We still have 2 months of inventory and 1 out of 5 homes are having a price reduction. The simplicity is key. And even when you said that to me, it was a revelation for me. Oh, what if I just spend some time? It might take an hour the first time, but look through the stats, get familiar with it. And then every week I can just check, or every month or whatever it is, or if you have some leverage, or if your MLS puts out a market report thing, sometimes those are a little behind. If you're waiting on the monthly data, you may want a little bit more current data. Ginger Vereen in our market does an amazing job knowing her numbers. She's way more thorough, but Elio, like that to me is intimidating in your style of just, 2 months of inventory and 1 out of 5 price reductions. How would you like those numbers to get worse? There's a chance they get better, but that's not how the trend is looking. So from everything I can tell right now is your best chance to still sell for optimal money. And you keep it simple, man. Like that's what people want. They don't want an encyclopedia of economist lingo, shouted at them, which sometimes we think. For someone, if you have a high S or a C tendency, you may want to over talk and overshare, a high I as well. But sometimes it's that high D personality. If you're familiar with the disc, you give them just what they need to know, let them make that decision, which is something I'm continuing to learn to do. I'm good at talking, as we can tell now. And sometimes I need to turn that off. Elio, what is your disc personality? Do you know that assessment? Are you familiar with it?
I'm a high D.
High D. I had a feeling. Surprise, surprise. Do you have a trailing trait that follows after that? Do you know, some people it's kind of even.
I'm just a big risk taker, honestly. I would start from scratch right now.
Yep. And we got Christina from Vegas there in the chat on a Facebook chat saying that you're a high D as well. So Christina's practicing her disc guessing or disc assessment tools on others. I love that. I had a feeling you were going to be a high D. If you don't know about the disc assessment, just look it up. It's free or cheap. Keller Williams also has an amazing tool called the KPA, the Keller Personality Assessment. I actually just retook it because I took it 5 years ago and a lot has changed in 5 years. And it's cool to see little things that kind of manifest differently, right? As you're older, as you've gone through life experiences, as you've been in real estate for a while, because my previous industry was way different than real estate. And I feel like I'm kind of a different person now in a cool way. So yes, Christina, you are famous. You got a shout out on Coffee with Omega. So we're going to keep moving, man. I've got some more questions. And again, feel free to use the hand raise icon if you've got a question, or just unmute yourself and jump right in. I know Brandon in Chicago there has got some wheels turning about something that he wants to ask.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm going to chime in. Thank you so much, Patrick, for putting this on. Very much appreciate it, as I wasn't able to make it to MegaCamp this year. I'm so excited to have Elio in YP. I had a question from the first little question break off you had. I didn't get answered.
Yeah, go for it.
Elio, you said that you plan on Sundays what you're going to post for the week. Is there a certain platform that you use? I know there's like platforms like Later or Edgar, or do you just do it like on a Google Doc? How do you plan for the week what you post?
That's a really good question, Christina. So I don't use any apps. I do it all manually. So I literally go through my pictures and I favorite the ones I want to post. And then I go to Instagram, I edit them a little bit, I add the caption, and I just save them as a draft. So when I go on Instagram on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I go to my drafts and I just pick whatever picture I want to post or whatever video I want to post. It's already uploaded for me. The thing is leveraging, not starting your day looking for what picture you're going to post, what caption you're going to post, who to tag, what hashtags, because that right there, you're going to overthink it. Like, I don't want to post this one, or you're not going to know the caption. So it can take you anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour just to post one picture. So that's 1 hour of your day already, right? That's the way I see it. So that's why, honestly, I do it on Sundays. Houston here, if you're not familiar with Houston, we're known for Sunday Fun Day, where it's just like mimosas from like the morning to midnight, 2 a.m. on Sundays. And
Say what? All right, let's go.
It gets down to Houston.
I'm coming.
I don't go out and Sunday Fun until I get my content ready for the week.
Man, I love it. Priorities.
It's part of my checklist.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Something I was going to ask too about that. How long does that take you on Sunday? Like how long is that block? I'm assuming it gets quicker the more you do it.
Yeah, I mean, the more content you take throughout the week, like the easier it gets. Like the more pictures, the more videos it gets. The hardest part for me is creating a caption sometimes, right? So 7 captions and just that's the hardest part. But it probably take about 2 or 3 hours sometimes, depending.
Are you
for an hour.
a tip on captions? Are you a music guy?
A music guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
Just as you're listening to music, have a notes tab open on your phone or whatever note-taking app you use, Evernote or Google Drive, and just like have a captions, like lyric captions, because lyrics always make nice, cheesy captions when you can't think of anything else, right? And anything that means a lot to you. There's a recent J. Cole lyric that's been meaning a lot to me. Based on the brand that I portray on Instagram, I can't exactly quote the caption. I would need to edit it quite a bit. But it's all about J. Cole's song, Middle Child, how he's rapping about how he's made a lot of money, but now his goal is shifted towards, he said, you know, what good is first class if my people can't sit? What good is a meal if my people ain't rich? And he's talking about building wealth in others. And that's been so meaningful to me these past few months as I'm building a team. And I don't necessarily need to have the client and the thrill of like closing the deal or getting it under contract. My thrills lately have come from seeing my agents get like a big deal they're super excited about. And so yeah, keep that in mind. Anytime a song's on repeat on your Spotify or whatever, you know, just find a lyric and put it there. And that way you got an easy caption. You know, you might have two that week, so you can knock out a few of them to make your Sunday planning a little shorter, so you can get to your mimosas and your Sunday fun day. And that's not novel. Everyone knows that Instagram captions are, you know, song lyrics are common, but yeah, just keep a notes tab going, just to have content. You never know when you'll need something on short notice. I got some more questions for you. What's the time that you dropped the ball, or a time that you just didn't execute at a high level in real estate, and what'd you learn from it?
I mean, there's been times where I just had this happen to me on Tuesday, right? One of my friends' mom called me, and I was busy, right? I was busy in appointments. I called her back 4 hours later, right? And like, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? And she's like, hey, I called you last month, and you told me you called me back. You never did. I just wanted to tell you, my neighbor wanted to list his house, and he was looking for an agent. And he called me again today to tell me if you found that agent, and he ended up listing with somebody else. It's too late now. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, it's just it kind of got to me, like, oh man, you know what? It sucks. It wasn't her fault, because she reached out to me one month ago, and then she reached out to me Tuesday again to let me know that she was with her neighbor. And I think that's really good life lesson. Like I get so busy on my phone that I have like a 1,000 unread messages on my phone that it's time consuming, right? And it's hard to get back to everybody.
Yep.
Oh,
Sorry, you said you have how many unread messages?
1,000.
1,000. I just want to trigger everyone who's like the high inbox 0. Elizabeth, you're not digging this. You keep it clean. No unread messages.
Oh, I don't even have the badges on, so I have no idea how many unread messages.
Oh, got it. Oh, so you can let them pile up too. That's awesome. Elio's about to show us, I think, what he's got. Yeah, it's a little out of focus. Not quite able to see how much. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, what is that? 1,000.
Yeah, that's why that assistant is needed, man. Come on.
Yeah. I only have 26 unread messages right now. Amanda Dahl's in the comments getting anxiety. And Elio, you actually reminded me about calling people back. Every single person on this Zoom call, if they've been in real estate long enough, has a story of a lead they missed because they didn't follow up soon enough in time. My good friend Amanda Dahl called me yesterday, maybe the day before. I need to call her back. So thank you, Elio, for reminding me to call people back. And you never know. It could be Amanda just calling to say, hey, it could be Amanda sending me a referral that I've already missed. You know, so like in this business, for me, over 7.5 years, it's kind of created almost an anxiety, almost like this always feeling like I'm on call. And I've had to step back. I've been focusing a lot on my mental health and physical health this year because of that burnout. And it's not like a big crash all of a sudden. It's more like a slow fizzle that has just gotten really strong by being always on and giving too much. Not that I'm the most generous or charitable, but just living in an industry where we are required to put our clients first. And in a crazy market that we've had, a lot of times you have to be ready to go on a moment's notice to write an offer on a house, right? Thankfully, that's slowing down. I think that's going to help a lot with mental health and real estate. But do you have any other tips on that, on like how to balance that, like being quick to reply, but without burning yourself out?
You know, it's just you want to cherry pick I cherry pick who I reply back to quick. If it's a
Mm.
lead, a past client, or an active client,
Mm.
they reply first. If I have 10 messages and one of our agents or one of us, staff or something like that, or family member, I reply back first to the leads. I just like who do I need to assist first, and I give to everyone else once I'm free.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a little bit of an internal monologue of like, okay, this one clearly, I know that's the one I need to call back first. And so does it just come from you having those boundaries of, hey, 5 to 8 is just me time, so that way you don't let that anxiety build up and you just know, okay, at 8:30, like I'm going to get back to everyone, even if they texted me at 5:30 this morning. So does it come from you building those boundaries? Is that kind of how you're able to stay fresh and not get burned out on it?
Building my own standard. It's like it's your own business, so you really have to.
Mm.
What's your standards? Like what?
Yep. Yeah, that makes total sense, man.
And if I don't do it, I get fired. I fire myself.
I know you had an obligation before this. You weren't able to hop on right on time. So if you need to hop off right at the top of the hour in a few minutes, just let me know. But as long as you're able to stay an extra 5 or 10, we can keep asking questions as well if you got it. Okay, great. So anyone on the call, feel free to chat in the box if you need to leave or leave a question before we hop off. But I've got to ask you, man, I'm on your Instagram. I see you got the 4 little highlights. You got like business, I think like weightlifting, personal life, you got your restaurant stuff, and you have aviation. Are you a private pilot? Because that is something that I'm working towards.
I have my permit. So
okay.
I want to say since last year, and I haven't flown since June.
Okay.
I got burned out and I stopped flying and I just focused business on my health.
Yep.
I'm going back to it. But yeah, that was one of my biggest goals is getting my private license. Right. I wanted to do like the whole idea of me getting my license because I want to do this epic real estate video and just land on the property and still have it back in my head. I still have to get my license.
Yep. Land on a property, like touchdown. That's awesome, man.
So, from January to June, my schedule was fly in the morning. I was flying from 7 to 9. That's 2 hours of flying. I would work from 10 to like 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and I would gym at night.
Yeah. Wow, man.
That every day, and that's when I got work.
And I took my discovery flight in the first December of COVID, I think 2020 or right over 2021. And it blew my mind, man. I had forgotten that I wanted to be a fighter pilot as a kid. And then the first time you get up there and feel it take off, it's completely different than being in a jetliner with Delta or American or Southwest. It gives you this like giddy feeling, right? And I've always been the kid that wants to climb the tallest tree, go to the top of the skyscraper in New York and look down. Like it just gives me this life and it makes you come alive for me personally. And everyone has different hobbies, but I love that because one of the reasons why I was so interested in aviation is that you can't be thinking about clients when you're up there. Like you cannot text, you can't take a call. You are locked in and focused. And even though it's very active, as someone like me who's got like very active brain, it's almost like a sense of rest too. And even just being up there and breathing, it's kind of like going on a hike when you get to the top of the mountain. But I live 3-4 hours away from the mountains. And so it's tough for me to go get those big views. You can go to a skyscraper, but for me, it's like, in a sense, it's almost mental health at the same time as having a hobby. And so it sounds like something that you need to get back into as well, just to take your mind off of things. And
flying was one of like the best things for me because like you said, like there isn't no clients up there. Like you don't have your phone.
Yep.
And it's pretty much on airplane mode, or it's not even, you don't get any service.
I see what you did there.
So I was flying the whole time. It was like freedom.
That's amazing.
Even the air up there tastes even better. Like I was flying a little Cessna, so all the air comes from outside.
Yep.
So it feels like that's what I would do in the morning, or when I was like tired or just my whole day, I would go fly in the evening to like get all that stress out.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I love that. Who else has questions for Elio before we wrap up here? I've got one for you. What books and podcasts do you listen to or read? What are you learning from? What keeps you motivated?
I'm not a big book reader. I think one of the biggest books I actually I read and impacted me was The One Thing.
Yep.
I'll read it over again every day if I want to.
That's The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. That, along with the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, are probably the top 2 recommendations within Keller Williams for things that have changed people's minds. or change people's lives. And I love the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is specifically a model. And that's kind of what Elio mentioned. I love, you're like, man, from the age of 12, I was working in my parents' business and learning from them. And so when you translate to real estate, you're like, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. There's a million realtors. There's a million Mexican restaurants. I'm going to be authentic to myself. And that's kind of a model in the same way that the Millionaire Real Estate Agent gives us all the model to however high we want to go. You could stay the level 1 individual agent all your life if you want, or you could grow to be that 7th level agent who's kind of removed from the business and has a CEO that's running it. And then just getting the ownership profits. So you're reading these books, you're reading the one thing. Do you have like, when you're driving, are you the kind of guy that's like always calling clients to check in on them and lead generate, or do you put on a podcast, or does music help you tune out? Like, what's your audio intake that you have there?
When I'm driving, it's either 30 minutes of just calls sometimes, or just music. Sometimes I don't have time for podcasts. It's either calls or music, or it's music and getting calls every minute.
Yep.
So I just stay on the phone.
Yeah. Maybe I need to get doing 70 deals a year and I won't have as much time for podcasts anymore. That's awesome, man. I've got a few more questions here. Anybody else want to? Oh, Amanda had one in the chat. She said, what's the most important thing you're focused on in 2023? If it hasn't been asked yet. So yeah, I would love to hear what you're looking forward to.
I'm honestly looking forward, 2023, I'm looking forward, to getting back to flying, getting my license, getting back to my health, and creating a team where I can do that. It's probably creating my first year of the team.
Awesome, man. So building a team and having that leverage so you can continue to pursue your personal passions and things that give you excitement and mental health and all of that. That's awesome, man. A question for you, just as someone who's getting into fitness. I'm on the beginning of my fitness journey, or like as an adult later in life fitness journey. What does your workout look like? Are you a weights kind of guy, or do you have a partner? Do you work from home? Do you go to a gym? Like, tell us about your fitness journey and where you're at.
I just go to the gym. I hate doing cardio, but I still do cardio because I love to eat. But I'm pretty much like a free weight type of guy, free weights.
Any sort of goal that you're working towards, or is it kind of just it's more for the consistency of just showing up every day?
Yeah, just staying fit.
Staying fit. Okay, cool. So no bodybuilding competitions or anything like that. Yeah. Our buddy Courtney down in Savannah just did one of those. It was so cool to follow his progress from setting the goal and, all right, I'm going to have a show on 6-8 months from now, and here's what I'm doing. And it's so awesome to follow people who are setting goals, not just with their business and their personal life, but also like their body and their physical health. Right. So that's super cool. Amanda says she's so impressed by the clarity you have for what you want at your age. And she says, if she was that clear at 21, Amanda and I both have traded a lot of stories about our journey in life, and thankful for where we are, thankful for what brought us here, but we're also super inspired by you. And I think that's probably a good note to end it on, man. We just want to encourage you, and obviously thank you for your time. I know you've been in this business 2 years now, and it's been a whirlwind. So it means a lot to us that you are sharing with us, and you're inspiring a ton of people on this call. I saw another Facebook notification in a different chat that someone is like, man, I'm going to get out there and get it. Here in Elio was just what I needed today. So keep encouraging people. And I saw someone else put in the chat just now, which I wanted to echo as well. Elizabeth, let us know if you need any help. Welcome to the YP family. And so no, you just joined recently. And yeah, man, let us know how we can help you. Again, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm our chapter vice president. Elio's in Houston. We got a ton of people on this call from all over. Ryan, dude, good to see you, man. You're Jersey, right, Ryan? Did I get that right? No, where are you?
I was at Tampa, St. Pete.
Tampa, that's right. From up there, and then now you're down in Tampa. That's right. So we got Ryan in Tampa. Man, Florida's on this call representing in our chapter here in the Triangle. So we're just going to close it out with that. And Elio, I'm glad you mentioned this. I was just going to ask you, where can people find you? And you've got at Elio Realtor. That's ELIO Realtor on Instagram. Is that the best way for people to reach you, or is text? Well, no, not text. We figured that out. Don't text Elio. He's got so many unread messages. Is Instagram DMs the best way to get a hold of you and to follow you? Awesome. And I don't know if we can hear you now. You might be muted. I lost audio on you for a second.
Right here?
Yep, there you go. Perfect. So yeah, we want to thank you for your time. If anyone's curious about Keller Williams Young Professionals, check it out, kyp.org. It's not that expensive, and you can sign up monthly if you wanted to just try it for a little bit. A lot of the value at KWYP is in person in your local chapter, but it's also nationally, whether it's on these Zoom calls, which are open to everyone, but just the connections and the networking. And as you hear me, the relationships I have with some of these people has come strictly from showing up to our annual conferences. We do 2 a year, Family Reunion and Mega Camp. and family reunion is coming up in February. It's always around Valentine's Day, somewhere warm, which is nice for people in the north to get out to a warmer area. This year it's going to be in Anaheim. So get your Disney going, get to meet YPers, and just hop on these calls, go to your local chapter events, or if you don't have one, seriously, think about starting a chapter. It'll blow up your business and your personal life in such an amazing way. Being surrounded by these sorts of people who are building big businesses and big lives. And Elio, I'm excited to fly with you someday, man. Excited for you to teach me a thing or two in the cockpit. And aside from that, we're going to keep following you on Instagram and going from there. And Elizabeth just put a link in the chat. And Elizabeth, I have no idea what that link is.
I was like, I know it showed up for some reason as Facebook. I'll give you the right link, but I was going to say, if you're from North Carolina, come to the launch in North Carolina.
Yes, those sorts of events too, those chapter launches that we do all around the country. It's not just the two big conferences. We have every summer we have a YP Summit, which is just for YP members. We've done it in Atlanta and Nashville the past 2 years. It was amazing a few months ago in June. But chapters are launching all over the country, and sometimes we'll fly into those. So I flew to an event in Knoxville, or I drove to an event in Knoxville, flew to Manhattan earlier this summer. DC just launched up in the DMV area. Austin launched while we were there for Mega Camp. So if you want to get involved, reach out to me, reach out to Elio, anyone, kwyp.org, put your information in. Someone will get a hold of you and make sure you can find out where to get plugged in with this community of people that are just growing and having a lot of fun together. So Elio, anything else you wanted to say before we close out, man?
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yep, of course, man. This is going to be on YouTube. Send it out to anyone that this may encourage. And with that said, the KWYP Triangle chapter here in North Carolina, we will see you next month, second Thursday of every month. Next month, we have Daniel Dixon coming on, and it's going to be amazing. If you guys don't know Daniel Dixon out of Denver, he has a big life and a big business, multiple big businesses. We're going to learn a lot from him. So with that said, thank you all. Thank you, Elio. And we will wrap it up here. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.